Story number 1. The Microwave Battery Disaster. Moving to Boulder, Colorado 2020 for a story that combines complete ignorance of chemistry with catastrophically dangerous household appliances. Meet Derek, a 26-year-old who looked at a dead phone battery and a microwave and thought these should definitely interact. Derek's phone had died. He was waiting for an important call. His charger was broken. In Derek's brain, a connection formed. Microwaves produce energy. Batteries store energy. If I microwave the battery, it'll charge. Let me be absolutely clear about how catastrophically wrong this logic is. Lithium-ion batteries, the kind in phones, laptops, and most electronics, contain volatile chemicals and metals. When heated, they undergo thermal runaway, a chain reaction where increasing temperature causes reactions that generate more heat, more reactions, more heat, until the battery explodes violently. Microwaving a lithium-ion battery is like building a small bomb with extra steps. Derek removed his phone battery. It was an older phone with a removable battery. He placed the battery on a plate, put it in the microwave, and set it for 30 seconds. For about 10 seconds, nothing obvious happened. The microwave was running, heating the battery. Inside the battery, the lithium compounds were heating rapidly. The internal structure was breaking down. Pressure was building. At around 12 seconds, the battery started smoking. Derek, watching through the microwave window, thought this was normal, like when food gets hot in a microwave. At 15 seconds, the battery caught fire inside the microwave. At 18 seconds, the battery exploded. The lithium-ion battery explosion was violent. The battery ruptured, spraying burning lithium and toxic chemicals in all directions. The microwave door, not designed to contain explosions, blew open. The microwave itself was destroyed. But Derek's problems were just beginning. The exploding battery sprayed burning lithium directly at Derek, who was standing about 3 feet from the microwave watching it happen. Burning lithium metal ignited Derek's shirt. Lithium burns are different from regular fires. Lithium burns at over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit and cannot be extinguished with water. In fact, adding water to burning lithium creates hydrogen gas, which can explode. Derek was on fire with a substance that water makes worse. He panicked, ran to his kitchen sink, and sprayed water on himself. The water hitting burning lithium created hydrogen gas, which immediately ignited. Derek was now dealing with both lithium fire and hydrogen fire. The kitchen filled with toxic smoke. Lithium combustion produces lithium hydroxide, which is caustic and toxic to breathe. Derek collapsed in his kitchen, suffering from severe burns and smoke inhalation. His apartment smoke detector had triggered the building alarm. Firefighters arrived to find Derek unconscious, the kitchen filled with toxic smoke and still burning lithium metal scattered across the floor. Firefighters had to use specialized dry chemical extinguisher on the lithium. Water would have made it worse. They extracted Derek and rushed him to the burn unit. Derek had third-degree burns across 40% of his body, primarily his face, chest, and hands. He had also inhaled toxic fumes from burning lithium and plastic. Despite aggressive treatment, Derek developed complications. His burns became infected. His lungs had sustained chemical damage from the smoke. Derek died 9 days later from septic shock and respiratory failure stemming from his injuries. The medical examiner determined cause of death as complications from thermal and chemical burns sustained in lithium battery explosion, manner, accident. A battery safety expert later commented, "Lithium-ion batteries are energy-dense devices containing volatile materials. Heating them causes thermal runaway, an unstoppable chain reaction ending in fire and explosion. Microwaving one is creating a bomb." This victim had no understanding of chemistry or battery technology. The result was entirely predictable and absolutely fatal. An electrical engineer added, batteries charge through controlled chemical reactions requiring specific voltage and current. Microwaves heat through radiation exciting water molecules. These processes are completely incompatible. You cannot charge a battery by microwaving it. You can only destroy it violently. This person died from fundamental misunderstanding of basic physics and chemistry. Boulder Fire Department later used this incident in safety training about lithium batteries. They emphasized, lithium batteries don't charge from heat, water makes lithium fires worse, and microwave ovens should only be used for food. Derek's apartment building had to be partially evacuated and professionally cleaned due to lithium hydroxide contamination. The cleanup cost exceeded $50,000. Derek's family was liable for damages. Never microwave batteries, ever, for any reason. Batteries don't charge from heat, they explode from heat. Lithium-ion batteries undergo violent thermal runaway when heated. The explosion is real, the fire is chemical and cannot be extinguished with water, and the fumes are toxic. If your battery is dead, charge it properly or buy a new one. If your charger is broken, buy a new charger. They cost $10. Derek tried to save $10 and paid with his life.
Story number 2. The Cliff Edge Photo Op. Heading to Moab, Utah, 2019, for another story proving that Instagram photos are absolutely not worth dying for. Meet Brad, a 28-year-old Jeep owner visiting Utah's famous cliff landscapes. Moab is known for stunning red rock formations, steep cliff edges, and absolutely incredible photo opportunities, if you take them safely. Brad had seen photos online of Jeeps positioned at cliff edges with dramatic backgrounds. These photos get thousands of likes on Instagram. They're visually stunning, adventurous-looking, perfect influencer content. What Brad didn't understand, those photos are taken with professional drivers, sometimes on private land, often with safety equipment like winches and spotters, and always with the photographer knowing exactly where the cliff edge is. Brad found a cliff overlook with a spectacular view. The cliff had a roughly 500-foot drop to the canyon below. Brad wanted the perfect shot, his Jeep positioned right at the edge with the canyon vista behind it. Brad's girlfriend was with him, serving as photographer. She immediately expressed concern. "Babe, that edge looks really unstable. Maybe park farther back?" Brad insisted the shot needed to be dramatic. He'd seen dozens of photos like this online. He knew what he was doing. Here's what Brad didn't know. The cliff edge was not solid rock. It was sandstone that had been eroded and undermined by centuries of wind and water. The visible edge was stable enough to walk on, but not stable enough to support a 4,500-pound Jeep. Brad slowly drove his Jeep toward the edge, his girlfriend walking beside him to guide him. She was watching the front wheels, telling him how close he was to the edge. "Okay, stop. You're like 2 feet from the edge." Brad wanted closer. "Just a little more. The shot needs to be dramatic." He inched forward, 1 foot from the edge. The shot was perfect. Brad put the Jeep in park and started to get out for the photo. The sandstone under the Jeep's front wheels, weakened by erosion and now supporting 4,500 pounds, began to crack. The edge wasn't solid, it was a thin layer over a hollow void created by erosion. The cliff edge collapsed. The front of the Jeep dropped suddenly as the ground gave way. Brad, who had just opened his door, was thrown forward as the Jeep tilted nose down. He tried to jump out, but the Jeep was already falling. The Jeep went over the cliff. Brad was partially in, partially out when it went over. The Jeep tumbled end over end down the 500-foot cliff face, hitting rocks, rolling, disintegrating. Brad's girlfriend was screaming.
Other tourists at nearby viewpoints saw it happen and called 911. Search and rescue teams arrived by helicopter. They found the Jeep's wreckage at the base of the cliff, completely destroyed. Brad was found still in the driver's seat area, what was left of it. The fall and impacts had caused immediately fatal trauma. The medical examiner determined Brad died from multiple blunt force injuries sustained in vehicle fall from cliff. A search and rescue coordinator later said, "We respond to these incidents multiple times per year. People drive too close to cliff edges for photos. The edge gives way and they fall to their deaths. Sandstone erodes from below, creating false edges that look solid but collapse under weight. Stay behind barriers. Use designated viewpoints. Your Instagram feed is not worth a 500-foot fall. The perfect photo doesn't exist if you're dead."